Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. And I started a series of JavaScript videos that talks about the advanced tips for beginners, some kind of secrets that exist in the programming language that most beginners usually don't know that the language has. And that's one of the things that makes the power of JavaScript. It has a lot of shortcuts, a lot of tips, secrets, and I'm going to talk about 5 of them today. The first one, let's dive straight into it. The first one, it's how the logical operators, the or the and works. Before I start, now let me explain to you our basic settings. So you can see from the screen, I have a basic HTML page that inside we have a JavaScript file, script.js, and the JavaScript file looks like this. And let me just display something so that we can be sure that it works. Hello. Now I can refresh my page. It alerts the hello, so we are fine. We are good to go. So I was saying how the logical operator, the or and the and works. But we are going to talk about some advanced tricks. Like let's start with the or. If I alert something like this, null, this is the or operator, true. 4. Now let's see what is going to display on the screen. It alerts true. Now why does it alert true? Because this is the hidden functionality behind the or that most beginners don't know. For if I put false here, it's going to go through from left to right and take the first value that is true. Now, given our 3 operands, the first one that is true is 4. So if I refresh the page, it's going to display 4. So that's all about it. And if 2 values are true, like for example 5 here, it's going to display the first true value. That's it, 5. And if all of it is false, like let me say false here, and let me put null here, that's another false value. Or undefined, that's another false value. Now it's going, if all of it is false, it's simply going to return false. It's going to return the last value of the operands. If all of it is false, it's going to return the last false value. Now that goes the same for the AND operator. The AND operator starts from left to right and searches for the first false operand. For example, if I put null here, if I put 1, and I put null, it's going to go through and display the first false operand. So here, this is the first one. This is the first false one. So it's going to display null. Let's just refresh the page. So it's going to display null. Now if I put undefined here, undefined is the first false value. 1, this one is true. 1 is true, this one is false. So it's going to display undefined. If all of it is true, like here, 4 is a true value, true is a true value. If all of it is true, like in this case, our 3 operands are true, it's going to display the last true value, so it's going to display 4. So that's about the logical operators, the and the for. Now the second thing I'm going to talk about is how comparison condition works. Comparison, I mean things like greater than or equal to. So the one trick I'm going to talk about, if we have something like this, is 2 superior to 1. That's true. 2 is greater than 1. Now that's a very simple straight answer. Now if we do something like this, 2 is a string. When it's put in quotes, is it greater than 1? Now how does this function? That's what I wanted to talk about today. It converts the 2 into an integer and then does the logical operation. So 2 is greater than 1. It's going to convert that 2 string into an integer. and it's going to return true. Same thing for if I put true is true equal or equal to 1. What it's going to do is that this is already true. It's going to convert 1 to true, and so the evaluation will become is true equal to 2. Is true equal to true. So this most people will not expect, but it's going to return true. If I refresh the page, you see it's going to return true. So that's one trick I wanted to talk about today. The third thing I'm going to talk about is one line condition. Like you are not obliged to put parentheses when you're using conditions that have just one instruction that follow. For example, I could do something like this. If 2 is greater than 1, I can alert 2 is greater than 1. So we can see if we refresh, it's going to display 2 is greater than 1. That's normal. Now this is an if statement that has just one condition. Now when you have one condition, you can delete the curly braces. It becomes an option, and you can even put it in one line, so it works without error. Let me just refresh the page. You can see it refreshes without a problem. The same display. 2 is greater than the 1, just to make sure we have the changes. See, it works properly. So when you have one instruction in a condition, be it an if or even a which, even a while loop, let's do something like this, like let me say age is equal to true. Now if I say while age, even in the while loop, while age equals to true, alert. Let me declare this variable first. If I refresh, it works without a problem. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing I'm going to talk about today is the for loop. Now let me do a basic for loop. Let me display numbers from 1 to 5. So it's something like this. For let I begins at 0, while I is less than 6. I could also say if y is less than or equal to 5. So let me just alert I. So here is a for loop that displays numbers starting from 1 to 5. Okay, so let's refresh the page. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that's the end of the for loop. Now this first part initializes the loop. The second part gives the limit, the upper limit, like this loop ends when I reaches 6, and this is the increment. So it starts from 1 and increments progressively up to 6. Now what I wanted to say is I could initialize this I out of the loop like this, and here this one will become an option, and the loop is still going to work without a problem. Like the first parameter, I'm not obliged to put it. Actually all of the 3 parameters are optional, but let me just talk about this first one. So I could declare the I outside of the loop, and in the for loop I allow the first parameter of the for loop empty, and if I refresh the page, it absolutely works normally without a problem. Now most beginners will don't know about this thing, but I need to talk about it. And good practice, we want you to put all 3 parameters, but I'm just talking to you about the different hints and tricks that exist in JavaScript that most beginners can know, and it can help in debugging, because you may see like an error and try working on it, meanwhile the error exists elsewhere, and this is absolutely a normal behavior. The last thing I'm going to talk about today is grouping of case statement. Now we know about a case statement. For example, let me write a small code that includes a case and switch. If I put somebody's age to be like 3 years, 3 for example, let me initialize, let me declare the variable let. Now I can test the age. Now if I interpret this code, it's going to display, because we declared age to be 3, it's going to talk about you are starting to be a running baby. So let's just refresh the page. You're starting to be a running baby. That's absolutely normal. Sorry. Let's just say we give milk to babies that are 1 and 2 years of age. Like I could put here, you deserve milk. You deserve milk, and here you deserve milk. Now if I refresh the page, it's gonna write we deserve milk. So you can see in our case, in case a baby's age is 1 or 2, we give them the same treatment because they are at milk drinking ages. So these are 2 case scenarios where we can merge into 2, and we can merge, and JavaScript has has tolerated a merging scenario. So we just write something like this: in case is 1 and case is 2, you deserve milk. So it works perfectly well. We can put the value 2 here. It's gonna notice, refresh the page, same thing, you deserve milk. It's gonna switch to something else. If you start putting other values like 3, you are starting to be a running baby. Yeah, that's the few tricks I wanted to talk about today regarding JavaScript for beginners, and I hope this has been very informative, and see you on the next video for other cool tricks regarding JavaScript. I'll be very grateful. You can subscribe to the page, but in the coming weeks we will have a lot of JavaScript coding tips and tricks that is hidden and most beginners don't know about it. I'm going to talk about it with simple examples, and thank you for viewing.